So I'm going to be continuing to operate on a when I feel like making a video, I make a video kind of schedule. Sorry, sort of unpredictable. I have been doing some writing lately, including, if you want to check out a link in the video description to my post about yesterday. So I've had a couple topics bouncing around my head, but I didn't really know how to address them. And then, a few weeks ago, I got a letter from my long-term follow-up clinic, the one in this video. It says, before I read it, I want you to notice that they did the super fancy thing where they plugged in my address and then also plugged it in to say, Dear Catherine. Plugged all that in. We are writing to inform you of changes. One of the doctors is changing his days in the clinic. But then, the second to last sentence says, we want to assure you that you will continue to get the best long-term follow-up care for your cancer. Really, Sloan-Kettering? Really? For those of you that might be confused, I had a disease called aplastic anemia, which is not cancer. The best way to draw the distinction between the two is to say that cancer is an abnormal excess growth of unhealthy, damaged, bad cells, and bone marrow failure is a lack of growth of healthy, necessary cells. But I face this a lot because these disorders get treated in very similar ways to cancer. So I'm on the receiving end of the blanket term of cancer a lot. And, well, on the face of it, I entirely understand. Cancer is really unfortunately common, and the disease that I had is also unfortunate, but far, far less common, like orders of magnitude less common. It's nonetheless really difficult when you're the one on the receiving end of a blanket term that doesn't fit. It ends up feeling like I don't count. Like what I went through doesn't count just because I didn't get this label that confers so much weird status, and not getting this label is first of all an issue of semantics, and second of all something that denies me access to a lot of things that could be really beneficial to me. So it's semantics because even though at a biological basis the diseases do have very clear distinctions, when you start to interrogate cancer as this monolithic label, the notion that there's so much difference or even so much uniformity really breaks down. For example, my disease and its treatment and the organ system it attacks and the demographics that it strikes have way, way, way more in common with leukemia than leukemia has with prostate cancer or lung cancer or esophageal cancer or breast cancer. Yet, because of that sort of biological underpinning, they get that monolithic label. By limiting it to the semantic label of cancer, it means that all of the scholarship programs and camps and support groups and other programs that get targeted at cancer patients, cancer survivors, either won't take me or I end up having to ask for special permission to be included. And because of what I went through, there's so many aspects of these programs and scholarships that are completely relevant, but they get denied to me. Obviously, I'm not saying that these people don't deserve these programs and supports. They absolutely need them. I really think all survivors of cancer and other serious illnesses need more support than they're getting right now. But It doesn't mean that I don't also deserve these things. I had a bone marrow transplant, I had chemotherapy, I had immunotherapy, I got blood transfusions, I had a central line, I had PICC lines, I had IVs, I had the whole 9 yards, I went bald. And so experientially I qualify, but because they're limiting it to this label, I don't. And so I would just ask that the people who run these programs and the people who write letters like this just choose to be a little bit more careful with their language. Choose to not make their language limiting, but instead make it encompassing. They could have ended the sentence with, "We want to assure you, you will continue to get the best long-term follow-up care," period. And then they wouldn't have cut out me and the other non-cancer survivors who get seen in this clinic, and I'm not the only one. It's just something that I want the world to be conscious of.